I want to preface this series of short clips with a few comments to supplement the viewing experience with points I think are relevant to raise. Number 1, this was generally everyone's first time at NC Bike, and all the footage within this video is from our first time going in the counterclockwise direction throughout the day. The organization I visited NC Bike with, Tony's Track Days, is primarily a Northeast track day organization that does tracks in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and New York. Many of the tracks we ride in the Northeast, while available for motorcycle track riding, are not necessarily true or ideal motorcycle race tracks in regard to safety. That is, runoff and width of track, both from a race line riding and tracking out or white lining perspective, are not ideal. NC Bike was certainly preferential in both these areas, which made me more comfortable in passing situations where normally I might have been more reserved to do so at one of our tracks up north. Number 2 is that this video is in no way a slight to any riders or to boast my track riding. I love riding with Tony's Track Days and all the riders, and growing with them and trying out new things like this track. The purpose of this video is to be a brief showcase of a 2022 RC390's prowess in a track day environment among intermediate skilled riders, including myself. Everyone knows small bikes certainly have their pitfalls, but since I've transferred down from my BMW S1000RR, which is my street bike that I rode on the track while I waited for my RC390 to get delivered throughout basically all of 2022, I've been having more fun, learning more, and yes, getting faster. Faster being relative to my original snail's pace. My point being, with good planning and technical execution, the big biking can be in many situations overcome. Most of the bikes in the following short clips were larger than mine, 600cc and up, and once I passed them, I didn't see them again except for on the straight, and, as you'll see, only briefly. Number 3 is the context of the video, because obviously it's been edited. The relevant background here is that I ride in my Track Days Blue Experienced group, which, for most track day organizations, is analogous with intermediate. Tony's generally runs 4 groups: red for rookie and beginner, yellow for novice, blue for experienced, and black for expert. To provide some perspective, red and yellow, the first 2 I mentioned, are generally one group in other organizations, the beginner group. Blue is intermediate and black is advanced expert. For NC Bike, the groups were run this way as well. Red and yellow ran together in one session, and blue and blacks ran separately in other sessions. As I mentioned previously, everyone was brand new to this track, and therefore we were all tasked with applying what we learned from our home tracks to navigating and making pace around this track. Some felt more comfortable than others, and everyone has their own track day goals and risk profile. You'll see in the following clips that most of the people I passed are the same throughout the day. All this means is that their goals and risk profile were different than mine, not that they are slow or that I am fast. There were plenty, and I mean plenty, of people in the intermediate group that I never saw, simply because we were all on the same pace. That being said, and I'll mention this only for the context of the video, I can count the amount of times I got passed on my 390 in or exiting a corner on one hand throughout the 2-day event. I did get passed on the straight, and sometimes I would put down another pass, as you'll see, and then not see them again. At the end of the day, everyone here rode respectively and amazingly, particularly considering none of us knew this track. For those familiar with NC Bike, my best laps were all low 140s, i.e. 140.1 or 140.2. For reference, on a 1000cc bike, I believe the track record before they added in the chicane is somewhere in the 122s or just below, so you can see how unimpressive my riding is. I'll probably have a video up of some of my hot laps, 140s determined by an AIM Solo 2, in a separate video. Further, for those that may be curious, my RC390 is completely stock except for the following items: Taiga rear sets, Taiga clip-ons, Pirelli SC3 tires, crash protection, and track day bodywork. Therefore, this is essentially the same as a bone stock RC390, save for the rear sets, which you absolutely must replace for track riding, or you will drag them everywhere. With all that being said, I hope you enjoy watching my butt scoot around on a 2022 RC390 and scoot around some amazing track riding friends during our first time at NC Bike.